Good evening and welcome to the Problem of Being Awake. My name is Ben and I'll be your host, and today I want to talk about how so many people living in this country despise Western culture and all Western countries. It's probably been most prevalently released in London, where we found huge amounts of pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas protesters, and Israelis are quite fearful. So there's a hell of a lot of negativity towards the West and anti-Semitism that's involved in every single protest. And people comment to me all the time on these things. It was a peaceful protest. It's like, no, it wasn't. Again, it wasn't. One police officer got shot with a firework pointed directly at him as a projectile. That's not that peaceful. In the evening, they were mounting the cenotaph and, making their famous chants from the river to the sea. There were three young black women who made it quite nice to translate something into English on a megaphone, which was "Kill all the Jews, kill all the Jews," to raucous applause from a splinter group of the main protest. But that wasn't a couple of people. It was a large group that splintered away from the main protest and went and spread their hate speech, anti-Semitic speech, and genocidal intent. Now that's not that peaceful. Equally, saying that all Jews should be sent back to Hitler's back garden in Germany. Now, the person interviewing him at the time might have pointed out that would have actually been in Austria. But he said, "So are you saying Hitler's solution for the Jewish people was right?" And he said, "Well, put it this way. At least he knew how to deal with those people." And then he picks up his Free Palestine march and starts chanting Free Palestine. He goes down as a peaceful protester when he's probably said one of the worst and most racist things and most evil things that's been said by anyone in any level of protest, certainly, but by almost any standard, as one of the most racist comments on earth. At least Hitler knew how to deal with these people. What? Massacre them all? Yeah, genocide. That was what he did. And by the way, the definition of genocide is the desire to massacre an entire race. So Israel have no genocidal intentions for Palestine because they could have massacred the entire race the following day on October the 8th. They didn't do that. So genocide is not just, it's not about killing. It's about, if you could, you'd wipe the race off the planet. And the Jewish people aren't doing that. But in England, we have two problems. We have adults who don't like Western culture. Well, then go back to the culture you came from that you do like. It's a simple equation. You can't. I don't think any of us feel comfortable having too many people who don't like Western culture, who don't like Western ideologies, who don't like democracy living in them. I think that's wrong. I don't go to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and start talking about liberalism and how I think, that democracy should be the law of the land, because I have more respect for than that. So, no, I think if you're an adult and you don't like Western ideology or the country you live in, and yeah, I'm not talking about just not liking the politics. I'm talking about not liking the ideology behind what founded the entire country you live in. You should leave because you shouldn't have come over. And then we have the problem with the young generation, and it's sad to say, I think we've lost 10 years worth of our young people because they've been quite badly indoctrinated into kind of one, hating the culture they live in and grew up in, which is causing them internal problems, which they identify as existential threats. It's actually just critical, rational thinking. It's a much overused word. But they have been indoctrinated into a way of thinking that is very difficult to be able to pull them out of. And that will be the job of the parents. And the parents really need to do a better job at the moment, because any woke type youngster who's been to Oxford or Cambridge, who comes out with an empty head except full of neo-Marxism, was not educated well, but they weren't parented that well either, because they should have seen the change in the rhetoric. Anyone normal would. And just hoping it's a phase that they'll grow out from didn't turn out to be true. So there is responsibility there as well. But if you don't like the country you live in, get out of it and find another one you do. Simple. That's what I would do if I didn't like the country I was living in. It's what any rational human mind and any adult of sensible intelligence would do if they didn't like the country they were living in. They would eventually find a country they wanted to live in and live there. So it's worrying we have so many people who say they do not like Western culture and do not like Western ideologies in Western countries where they have citizenship. And something needs to be done. And there's a very simple psychological test that could be organised by anybody. I could write it in 2 hours. It's there to design and find out how people think differently. So you have 4 questions, and let's say all 4 of them have the same answer, but they're very differently worded. If they're differently answered, there's a problem. So I put it to the government that we shouldn't really be having anti-Western people in our country. I just don't see any benefit, any reason or morality to do so. Anyway, I'll leave it there. If you liked the video, please subscribe and share. If you didn't, then you've already left, so don't worry about it. I don't take offence.